Hi, this is Alex Counts, and in this video I'll be talking about how do you prepare and conduct really a first meeting with a major donor prospect. And I'll talk from my perspective. Almost all the ones I've been in have been as an executive director or CEO of a nonprofit, but you can use these ideas if you're a fundraising professional, if you're any other type of volunteer or staff member of a board of an organization that is having this initial meeting. First of all, you prepare. Now, you don't over-prepare. You look to see if they've written things that are public, read them, try to get a sense of their priorities, their style from that. Also, ask people in and around your organization if they know them. Maybe a board member has done business with them. Maybe someone you know went to school with them. But once you get some background on them, don't be so quick to show off all that you know in the meeting. They may kind of feel like they're being stalked almost. So they're probably going to tell you some things that you know from your research, and that's fine. They may give you another little nuance compared to what they wrote 5 years ago or what a newspaper article said about them. Second thing is you have to figure out who's going to go to the meeting. Now, I think 1 and 2 people usually make sense. The CEO and the fundraising staff who will manage the relationship. Maybe a board member or someone who introduced you to them, a volunteer or donor of some kind, but no more than 3. And I think 1 and 2 often makes it best. It's easier to prepare and coordinate if it's only 1 or 2 people who work or employees of the organization. So the time of the meeting comes. Let's assume you have an hour. Sometimes you have shorter than that. First of all, what not to do. I wouldn't in that first meeting make a direct monetary ask. Now, you need to be prepared if they say to you, what would you do if I gave you $100,000 or $1 million? But no, your ask of them should be really well crafted, well thought through, and it'll be a couple meetings in the future. Also, don't spend your time, as so many nonprofits do, presenting every last detail about their organization and the issue that they work on and their track record and their team and their accomplishments and their plans. Many organizations will spend 45 minutes of an hour-long meeting, first meeting doing that, just driving content, driving information at the donor. That's usually not a very satisfying experience for a donor. Basically, since they probably did some research on you, they've not learned much new, and you've learned almost nothing about them. So what would I do instead? After some small talk, I tell them that I'm aware that my job is over time to have us become a very important part of their philanthropic legacy, their philanthropic portfolio. I'll let them know I want to talk in due course about the things that we do, things that would be most exciting for them to support and get involved in and learn about. But then I turn the tables and I just say, I want you to tell me about your philanthropic philosophy, priorities, preferences, the kinds of things you like to support with your money and your time and your expertise and your contacts. Now, the extroverted people, you ask them that about their philanthropic philosophy, and boy, they'll probably talk for 30, 40 minutes. Maybe occasionally you'll have to ask a question. Well, tell me about a really good experience you had working with a nonprofit. Have you ever served on a board? What was that like? What experience you had that weren't very satisfying? But generally, especially the extrovert people, they'll just take that and run with it. They'll be surprised that you're asking them as opposed to sending information at them. Now, the more introverted people, you might have to ask a question a couple different ways before they kind of get going and really feel that you're interested in hearing about them. So you let that process go. Oftentimes, it'll take 30, 40 minutes of an hour-long meeting. And then in the time that remains, you don't necessarily have to put forward a proposal or even a framework for how you engage with them. I just signal that I've really heard them, that I've not been just waiting to get my part in, but I tell them, almost summarize what they told me that their preferences are and ask them if I've got it right. And then I say, listen, I want to go back and think deeply for a couple weeks about what they told me, what our needs and priorities are now, and just come back with some initial ideas of how we might be able to partner over time. So I'm in no hurry because I want to present something that really feels right to them. I've just spent the last 40 minutes learning about them, so I've got to digest it and talk with my colleagues who I want to bring to that next meeting, and not necessarily a proposal, but a framework, test some ideas for their reaction. So if you try that, in the meeting, it's almost like they're giving you a kind of a user's manual to have a winning relationship with them, a relationship that is deeply satisfying to them and their philanthropic priorities, and that works beautifully for your organization. And then you follow up. You book an appointment 3 weeks later, plus or minus a week, and you come back and you present some ideas to them that really show that you listened and that you thought deeply about what you need and what they need and want. Then you're on your way to having a really good relationship. It may not start huge, but it'll start well. It'll be informed by their preferences and your needs, and it can grow to be fantastic. If you want to learn more about my views about fundraising and nonprofit leadership, you can visit alexcounts.com and look at the other videos on my YouTube channel. Good luck.